Today we're talking about terms, factors, and coefficients. This is the introduction to our first section in Unit 3. So you'll want to have your notebooks close by. You want to write down all of the definitions and an example that we're going to show you later. We're going to start with a term of a polynomial. Term of a polynomial can be labeled as a section of a polynomial. So for instance, this polynomial has 4 terms. In other words, it's divided into 4 sections. And each one of those 4 sections is called a term. You want to be careful to include the sign in front of a term with that term. So my 4 terms would be 3x to the 4th, 2x squared, a negative 7x, and a positive 9. This next polynomial has 3 terms, or 3 sections to it. I have a positive 5y to the 3rd, a positive 8y, and a negative 6. When you're asked to identify the terms, you actually write down the terms separated by commas. Coefficient, hopefully you've heard that term before, is a number that's being multiplied to, or in other words, in front of, a variable. So my original polynomial here has 3 coefficients because there's 3 numbers that are being multiplied to a variable. The 3, the 2, and the negative 7 are all being multiplied to a variable. The 9 is not called a coefficient because it has no variable. That's called a constant. 5y to the 3rd plus 8y minus 6 has 2 coefficients. The 5 that's in front of the y to the 3rd and the positive 8 that's in front of the y. Polynomial factors is our next term, and polynomial factors are all the different parts of a polynomial. Now, I have seen polynomial factors written several different ways depending on a textbook. In your textbook, they split up these terms into their own individual factors. So 3x to the 4th contains a 3 and an x to the 4th, and they'll list those separately as factors. Then we have a 2 and an x squared, then a negative 7, then an x, then a positive 9. In your book, these are listed as factors. Sometimes I have seen, since this is an x to the 4th, an x squared, and an x, that they just would say the variable x is a factor. Next, let's talk about types of polynomials. A type of a polynomial is the name of a polynomial based on the number of terms. A monomial is a polynomial with only one term. Mono means one. It's not just a disease. So examples of monomials: 4x, 3y squared, negative 2, and even 12x to the 3rd, y squared, z. Those are all monomials. They can stand alone or be multiplied to different variables, but notice there is no addition or subtraction inside these terms. Monomials will never have addition or subtraction. Binomial is a polynomial with 2 terms. Just like a bicycle has 2 wheels, a binomial has 2 terms. So I'm going to have 2 different terms either being added or subtracted from one another. And finally, a trinomial. A tricycle has 3 wheels. A trinomial has 3 terms. I don't know why it says 4 there. Let's hurry and fix that. So trinomials will have 3 separate terms either being added or subtracted together. So let's look at a couple of examples here. First of all, we're going to identify the terms in the following expression, then the coefficients, the variables, and the power of each term. So here's a polynomial. First, let's identify the terms. How many sections do I have in this polynomial? I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to list all of those sections separately and call them terms. In each term, every single term is going to have a coefficient, a variable, and a power. In this first term, 5x squared, the coefficient is 5, x is my variable, and 2 is the power. In the second term, negative 7x to the fifth, the coefficient is negative 7, the variable is x, and the power is 5. In 3x to the fourth, what's the coefficient? What's the variable? And what's the power? Did you get 3x and 4? If so, awesome. The next one, negative 6x squared, coefficient is negative 6, variable x, and power 2. Now let's quickly talk about our little constant on the end. If there's no variable there, can I call it a coefficient? Nope, I can't. If there's no variable, I can't write a variable down. But here's the kicker, here's the teaser. A power on a constant is 0. If I'm asked to find the factors of each term, remember I simply split the term up into its individual parts. What if I was asked to find each term, coefficient, and constant of this expression? At first glance, it's kind of hard to tell. So when you see something like this, you need to simplify it first. So if I do the distribution, 6 times x and 6 times negative 1 gives me 6x minus 6. Negative x times 3 and negative x times negative 2x gives me negative 3x and positive 2x squared. And then I have this positive 12 on the end. Next, I need to combine like terms. 2x has no partner, there's no other x squared, so I'm going to leave it by itself. I have a 6x minus 3x leaves me with 3 x's. And negative 6 plus 12 leaves me with positive 6. Now I can identify the terms, coefficients, and constants. So terms, there's 3 of them, right? The 2x squared, the positive 3x, and the 6. How many coefficients are there? There would be 2, right? Coefficients are numbers in front of a variable. The 2 and the 3 are in front of variables, so they're coefficients. And our constant is 6, the number without any variable. Next, it asks us to name the type of expression. Is this a monomial, a binomial, a trinomial, or something else entirely? Since it has 3 terms, we're talking about a trinomial. Wow, somebody really messed this up. There we go. This is a trinomial. Make sure to write down any questions that you have and make extra sure to bring your notes to class with you. We might be doing a notebook check. Have a great day, and I will see you later.